Hello everyone, and welcome back to DMG. Today I'm going to show you something you've probably never seen. First, let me ask you, when you think of enterprise storage, what do you think of? Probably something big and heavy, like this Hitachi Ultrastar, or this Barracuda ES. These are 3.5-inch drives. They're pretty big, and they're really loud. So, would you believe me if I told you you could buy an enterprise storage drive in a 3.5-inch form factor? No, you probably wouldn't. Well, you should, because I have one right here. Now this is a Western Digital Velociraptor, and it may look like a regular laptop drive at first glance, but let me compare the thickness here. It's about twice as thick as the thicker thickness of laptop drives. So this is even thicker than an SSD. So this is 3 SSDs thick. This drive is also really heavy. It's very solidly built. But let me tell you some other cool things about this. I've had my eyes on one of these small high RPM drives for a while, but the thing that's kept me from buying one is most of them are SAS. If you're not familiar with SAS, the connector looks a little bit like SATA, but you can't use it on a regular SATA system. But this drive, as it says right here, is serial ATA compatible, and if you flip it over, yep, that's SATA. Also, the controller board is huge. It covers pretty much the entire back of the drive, compared to laptop drives, which don't really have that big of a controller board. There's still space with the head here, but they don't have to cut the controller board down smaller to fit the head because it's thick. Now, the next interesting thing about this is, beside it being a really small enterprise storage drive, is this drive right here, 5400 RPM. This drive here, 7200 RPM. This is 10,000 RPM, almost twice the spindle speed of your regular laptop drive. Now, you may be asking, why does it spin that fast? And it's so that it can compete with the speed of one of these big guys. Now, these are for data centers where space matters, as in like how many servers you can cram into one, rack. Because think about it, you could fit a lot more drives if you're using this as opposed to using a 3.5-inch drive. Let me just demo that really quickly. So of course, width. You could fit 2 of these drives in the space you could fit a single 3.5-inch if you arrange them like that. They're also a little shorter, so you could stack 2 in the height of a 3.5-inch drive. But really, their main application, in servers where these are used to save space, I've seen them slotted in this direction. So, they're the height of 3 3.5-inch drives when they're on the end. So you can put, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can fit 5 of these in the space where you would normally be able to fit 3 3.5-inch drives if you have them, vertically going in, which saves quite a lot of space. And also, if you have them mounted like that, you can have 2 stacks of them and save a lot of space versus just using a 3.5-inch drive. Basically, in servers, if you really wanted, you could make a 1U server with these drives and still get a lot of drives and storage capacity. But these are mainly for servers. You don't really see these out in the wild very much because they are for servers. But I do have a niche use case. I need something faster than a laptop drive in a 2.5-inch mount, but height doesn't really matter here. Because, quickly, before anyone buys one, I want to say these won't fit in your laptop. Laptops cannot take these. No laptop out there is going to be able to take one of these. No consumer grade laptop. My Dell Precision can't even take those. These are not for laptops. And I'm just going to say it again before someone buys one. These aren't for laptops. Before we get to benchmarks, I do want to say really quickly, they do have a few more advantages over 3.5-inch drives. Because of their high RPM and very small platter size, I expect their seek times to be much faster because the head has to move less far to get around the platter. I also can't go on without mentioning how cute this is. Like, when you look at it in my hand, it really looks so cute. It's seriously like someone took a WD-RE4, which was their older line of like server drives before they bought Hitachi and, you know, did all that with their Ultrastars. It looks like a tiny WD-RE4, and this drive right here is from 2009. So if that kind of gives you an idea of how far back this idea goes of having a very small drive that spins extremely fast, yeah, it goes back 15 years. Also, some more things that differentiate this drive from a laptop drive is the fact that it uses load ramps as opposed to parking the head on the platter or landing zones as most drives do nowadays, which is terrible that drives do that, especially in laptops. Load ramps are way more reliable, and they do take a little longer because the head has to move farther onto the platter, but it's definitely worth it for the reliability. I want this drive to sound like a tiny WD-RE4. I am really hoping that it sounds like a server drive, but just a higher pitch because it's a faster RPM. Usually on server drives, they don't do anything at all to quiet it down. They're actually tuned in firmware to speed up seek times, which makes them a crap ton louder, and I love the sound. But anyway, there's no way to find out without plugging it in and testing it, so I'm going to do exactly that. Okay, I have it in the system that I'm going to be testing it on. As usual, Windows XP 32-bit for testing the drives, because there aren't like extra background processes that take up disk space, all of that. Alright, powering on. Ooh, that sounds really good. That's a good sounding drive. Checking our drive here, it's in pretty good health. Doesn't look like we have any bad sectors. No uncorrectable sectors. We do have 140 reallocated sectors, and that does make me a little nervous. Only 51 read errors, and every other statistic is 0. It's been on for 26,223 hours, 26,223. So that's what, like almost 3 years, I think. Yeah, it's actually a little over 3 years, looking it up. So it's definitely a used drive, but I knew that buying it. So you might be able to hear it right now. It's just clicking away. And we finished our Crystal Disk Mark test. 123.7 megabytes per second read, 123.3 write. So there's virtually no difference between those speeds, which is cool. That's way faster than you'll see on any laptop drive, even a new one. Now, some SMR laptop drives may actually be capable of going a little faster, but they'll drop off in speed after a few minutes because they're SMR. This is CMR all the way. Now, our random read is a little lower than I was expecting, but our random write is almost 2 megabytes per second average, which is incredible. You're not going to see that on any other drive. I think that's actually the fastest random write of any drive I own. So that owes to the small platter size and fast rotation speed. That's it for this video. Thank you everyone for watching. I have lots of other hard drive content on the channel if you're interested, so go check that out. Hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time.